What if I told you that exile isn't just a historical event? What if I told you that exile is happening right now, inside you? Most people think of exile as being forced out of a land, as slavery, as persecution. But what if that's just the surface? What if the real exile, the deepest exile, isn't external at all? The first step to redemption is recognizing that you are in exile. The greatest deception of exile is making people believe that their battle is external, when in truth, the battle is within. And until you see that, you're still a slave. This is the first episode in a 10-part series on exile and redemption. We're going to break down the patterns of Galut and Geula. What really happens before redemption, both on a national and personal level. We're going to decode Torah and Kabbalah to show how exile is much deeper than we think. And most importantly, we're going to apply these truths to our lives today. Because Geula, redemption, isn't just something we wait for. It's something we step into. Let's begin. The first exile. The very first exile in history was not Egypt. It was not Babylon. It was not Rome. The first exile was Gan Eden. Adam Harishon and Chava had everything. Divine light, clarity, unity with Hashem. And then, in one moment, they made a wrong decision. And suddenly, they were cast out. But they weren't just physically removed from Gan Eden. They were exiled from a state of awareness. This is the root of all exile. Not just being displaced, but losing clarity of Hashem's presence. And if that's true, then redemption isn't just about returning to a land. It's about returning to a state of consciousness. Hester Panim, the concealment of the divine. Kabbalah explains that the core of exile is Hester Panim, the concealment of Hashem's presence. It's not that He isn't there. It's that we don't see Him. The Zohar says that when Adam and Chava ate from the Eitz Hadat, something fundamental changed. Before the sin, they saw reality clearly. They saw Emet, the truth. After the sin, their perception became distorted. Truth became mixed with falsehood. This is exile of the mind, when a person no longer sees things as they really are. And once a person is trapped in that state, they don't even know they're in exile. This is why exile is so dangerous. Because if you don't know you're in it, you don't even try to leave. How exile exists today. So let's bring this closer. How does exile affect us right now? Are you actually free? You might not be in chains. You might not be physically enslaved. But let's go deeper. Are you trapped in negative thought patterns? Fear? Self-doubt? Anxiety? Are you stuck in emotional exile? Disconnected from meaning? Feeling numb? Just going through the motions? Are you in spiritual exile? Distracted? Unable to focus on what actually matters? If you said yes to any of these, then you're still in Mitzrayim. This is what Pharaoh really wanted. It wasn't just about controlling their bodies. It was about controlling their minds, keeping them so busy, so exhausted, so mentally trapped that they would stop thinking about freedom altogether. And if that sounds familiar, that's because the system today is doing the same thing. The world's obsession with external enemies. Look around at the world right now. Everyone is obsessed with external enemies. It's the government. It's the economy. It's the wars. It's the media. And yes, those are real problems. But the greatest war is not happening out there. The real war, the deepest war, is for your perception of reality. As long as you believe your battle is only external, you are still a slave. As long as you believe that freedom will come from outside you, you are still in exile. And the moment you wake up to that, the moment you recognize exile for what it is, that is the moment redemption begins. The first step to redemption. The first step to Geula isn't miracles. It isn't Mashiach riding on a white horse. It isn't some global event that suddenly changes everything. The first step is consciousness. It's realizing I am in exile and I do not belong here. This is why Yetziat Mitzrayim didn't begin with the plagues. It began when Bnei Israel, the children of Israel, finally sighed and cried out. It began when they finally realized this is not the way things are supposed to be. And if you do not feel that, if you do not realize you are in exile, then when the redemption comes, you might not even recognize it. So this is where we begin, with a simple but life-changing question. Where in my life am I still in exile? This was just the first step. In the next episode, we're going to break down how exile actually starts. The root of Galut Mitzrayim, the exile of Egypt, so we can understand how it repeats today. If this resonated with you, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's next. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share this message with them. Because the more we wake up, the closer we bring the redemption. See you all in episode 2.